Okay. Um, this is another video that I just wanted to kind of break down things that have happened to me, and how they're trying to make me accept these things. Uh, I'm a target individual. I'm a TI, meaning that I am a subject in this program that is, developing a technology, a weaponry of some sort that is meant to, I guess, it's just meant to improve as more samples they have, and I am unfortunately one of those samples when it comes to the program. So they do the things that they've done to other target individual, which consists of a lot of manipulation, tormenting, disturbing manipulations, which is not unique to me. Other target individuals have talked about these ways of breaking them down. Is disgusting, and to know who they've done it to is also disturbing. But that's what these people do. This is what they do, and you are surrounded by people involved in this. A lot of them are just contracted, and obviously, I know this is. I'm very comfortable and confident to say that this intelligence community is involved in this, but they are contracting people who are not directly, you know, hired by them, right? They're just contracted. They have these layers, and those layers, I don't know how big of a layer, but they're just a contracted individual. This is who you see there. On this side, I don't think these people will have CIA or whatever, DOD, but I do believe they're contracted in a certain ways and they get benefit incentives one way or another. Meaning that they're not, they're not employed per se, but they have benefits coming from these entities for doing what they do. And these people are supposed to make you subscribe to it. The reason why I blurred them is because everywhere I would go, this kind of people will be there. And their job is to make you make you accept, what's happening to you. They're manipulating you in so many disturbing pedophilia ways. It's so disturbing. They manipulate you in so many foul ways. They do so many horrible things to people, and the torment is nonstop. And their job is to get you to accept this as if it's you. And they try to create a psyop too. They're supposed to present themselves as people who are protecting the community, mothers protecting their children, women avenging your wrongdoings. But the reality is, as you can see on the other side here, is they involve in a program that is torturing children, torturing women, and doing horrible things to them. And those people are the same people. Now, what you're seeing on top over there is the people who put me in this program. I started working for this employer of mine in early 2010s, and after working there, things looked like I was not a good fit for there, and I think because of my race, they thought, okay, well, we don't want to have any trouble, so let's just put him in the program. And so I put in the program by them. This employer sells industrial things, and they're, they're not like governmental, but they have a lot of ties to the government, a lot of connections. They sell to the government. They have a lot of influence in the governmental aspect of in all branches of the government, even in the intelligence community. And they also work with vendors with a very, very close tie to this intelligence community. So those are the perfect people to understand. Like for me, it was understood. Okay, this is why. Okay, that's who put me in this program, and I'm sure. And the guy on top over there is definitely the guy who put me in that. And these people, my employer, are, I don't want to say the name, but let's just say they're nuts. They are very much on the conservative side of things, very, very conservative, extremely conservative, to the extreme. And now that I'm in a target individual, especially here in New York, even before when I left the company, because after 4 years, almost 5 years of working there, um, I started getting gang stalked, right? And they were trying to present themselves. They had this psyop of like this women, like this progressive woman that was like, they were trying to present themselves as the complete opposite of the people who put me in this program. It's like they were trying to disorient me because I already knew that these people were doing something to me. And when I saw these people, it just didn't make sense. But it was purposely done to create a psyop. Because these people over there are extremely conservative. The purpose of me being in this program also might even include race. And so they're going to bring this progressive, liberal type of intellectuals and people who can knows super PC, like extremely liberal, to try to counter the reality. They do a lot of psyops. A lot of psyops. It's disturbing. At one point they were even make me think that, I remember when they were doing a lot of things. Now that I've realized that this all along they're creating slandering things. At the bottom you see like 3 women, right? One with a hat, one with like glasses, and I remember when I was sitting in my cubicle, and I would see them they would just bring a bunch of piece of paper and they'll sit next to me, right? The cubicle was close to mine, and they'll like highlight things on the papers. It's like, oh, good one, you got that one, oh, good. And they'll like purposely be loud. Oh, that's why you're so good. Highlight this, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And like, I don't know what they're doing, but it seemed like they wanted to show me that they're doing something in regard of me. I was like, what is going on here? And they'll look at this paperwork, oh, this thing, highlight this. And I'm like, whatever, now I know it's like they were doing some gaslighting methods to try to annoy me. But now they're like, oh, they're highlighting the moments where you had, because now what they do is they make me have these pedophilia reactions. It's so disgusting. And they're highlighting the moments you had those reactions. And what they're doing today, right? They make me think that, and then they go into my memories, and every time there's a child or a thought of a child, they make me have stimulations. Because I remember like one thing I used to do, like I'm such a daydreamer. I used to be such a daydreamer, and I remember I would come up with like imaginations of like, oh my gosh, what if I was like a single father, and me and my daughter, we were learning how to do the cheerleader together, and I was gonna, and I would make myself almost cry. I know it was kind of comical, it's kind of funny, and I would like, oh yeah, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, you're so strong, you're a single father taking care of your daughter. I know. The reason why I say these things is just to kind of give you an idea of how I was, and how kind of daydreamy I was. And so now they try to be like, no, now they're making me think that I was getting stimulations and creating false memories. And they were highlighting this, oh, you see, he thought like that, he had the stimulation there. Creating a false memory, implanting false memories in anywhere they can, to change that all along they will seeing what you're experiencing today. We're not doing anything, this is what's happening then. And this trash around me here are doing their best to disorient me as I'm saying this. Because this trash put me in this program where they're going to do the pedophilia type of torture. They knew this is what they do. This is a company that sells industrial material. They put me in a program where they know they destroy people's life and they do horrible things to them. And they utilize pedophilia type of torture. And so now they try to make me think, no, they saw this and that. These people who sell industrial material. I'm talking about like really industrial, like warehouse stuff. Now they will investigate this. That's what we do there. What do you mean? And the paperwork, where it came from the people who do the pedophilia type of torture? Do you understand? They're delusional. And they manipulate my memories to make me experience what I'm experiencing today. Stay strong, target individuals, because this is how illogical it is. But listen to what these people have to block out.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection.
No, I'm kidding you. I'm kidding.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Crawford. I'm here from the state of Michigan. I wanted to speak about biotechnology applications being utilized on my person. I have medical reports showing eye damage being done to my eyes. My eyes does not have a mirror image. I also have nanowiring inside my eyes. I have pictures of the actual implants from the eye doctor. Once enlarging the nano implants, you will see a copy of the actual particles in my eyes. I have CAT scans, MRIs, and PETs showing wiring, nanowiring in my head. This is my brain. It's straight from the right side to the left side of my head. I also have implants in my chin, in the chin region on both sides. One side shows a wire, the other side shows the actual implant. Implant particle devices coming down through here. Projectiles of the nanoparticles on the side of my head. Enlarged pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized to implement us into this program unconsensually.
Leslie, I think your comments reinforce much of what we've heard, and if you don't mind, I'd like to make room for others at the microphone now, since it seems to be reinforcing. Juan, I'd ask you to pick somebody, this gentleman right here. Yeah. I'm sorry, who's been waiting? Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. My name is Eugenia Durden.
I'm sorry, Eugenia?
Eugenia Durden, yes. Everything I've heard from this commission and this panel about ethics, they were mostly talk about pharmaceuticals research, but I haven't heard anyone talking about a psychotronic weapon research, or bioelectromagnetic weapon research. Who in this panel are familiar with the psychotronic weapon? Raise your hand, please. Who of you know about psychotronic weapons? Any one of you? Psychotronic bioelectromagnetic weapons. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
No? Okay. In this audience, is anybody familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Okay. Okay, the audience is familiar with that, and I think that in order for a panel or a commission to be able to help this problem and this issue, we'll have to have more knowledge on what psychotronic weapons are. I am physically leashed from my neck to the electromagnetic power of one of the weapons that is being used against me. I get tortured day and night. At night is with nightmares and all kinds of dreams that I don't want in my head. And throughout the days, my body, they prod with my neurological system, so they do anything to my body. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up. Sometimes I feel I'm going to have a heart attack. They do all kinds of things like jitter pulsating with the electromagnetic frequencies. They use a program called virtual reality that makes them feel that they are right in there in front of you.
And I am a victim of.
You feel that you've been injustice?
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how
Sure.
you perceive
Sure.
yourself
Well,
as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, "How do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that?" I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, "You're mentally sound as a bell." He said, "I don't have any idea what's going on with you." When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the.
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976 that if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this incident, I quickly just let him play another game, and he quickly returned to his joyful, happy self again. In other sessions, he has also grabbed his crotch and said, "Ow," while looking up at me. The nature of the torture I have been experiencing has been highly sexual in nature and highly perverted, involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
They're trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. It's disgusting, disgusting. This take this whole thing into account so much. I make it so dramatic. They're trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. It's disgusting, disgusting. This take this whole thing into account so much. I make it so dramatic. It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
In 2015, I began to experience what some call V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent.
The targets were forced to perform homosexual acts on each other against their will and religion in order not to be beaten or killed. This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true, that heterosexual targets are forced to view homosexual sexual acts like in the
I can be free from this torture. Every day has been a miracle of survival. I also experience what is referred to as malodorance, This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and weapons. In 2015, I began to experience.
And I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And am a victim of organized
we
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and am a victim of organized
we
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Hello.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, first floor, second floor, 2 garage, backyard, land, everything. Can't live in my house. My neighbors are shooting direct energy weapons through my house. I hold my heart like this. You know why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. Come get me. Oh, Lord, because I think I'm dying. I'm making this video
in an attempt to expose this horrific nightmare.
Hello, I'm making this video to honor the 3rd annual Targeted Individual Day. That's August 29th, 2020. My name is Linda Marie Sharp in Mendocino County, California, United States. I am a targeted person and have been for over 12 years. I am electronically tortured by directed energy weapons.
Hi, my name is Lisa Davis and I'm in Duluth, Minnesota. I am a targeted individual.
You feel that you've been injustice?
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock up my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the...
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976, but if you would pass it, It might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. They sent me to the mental ward because they said I did this to myself.
What I say, I'm playing with my dog. So that attacks continue. I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them, I usually called demeaning names, and one of them is referring to homosexuals. For me, all of the slaves are misfits, society haters, scumbags, etc. No, I don't have anything personal against them, homosexuals, but as my way to aggravate the slaves, and since they love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say, I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the palpitations in my genitals for what I'm thinking, and since the attack comes so quickly, I realized my programming has been set on auto, in their central computers. No handlers could do something like this that quick. What make me realized, the slaves are desperate to get me. Unfortunately for them, they are facing a strong wall where no matter how much their computers EAP me, I know I'm not changing. As I said, I feel like they've been set up a beam where I feel constantly stimulated. I'm talking sexually, like a heat in my genitalia, like getting aroused constantly.
Any part of the body. This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal, or it can sort of turn off the
Able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain, they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
Occasion, I was told I was going to be shot in the face, and it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, you're going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them? Basically, you know, they call me a retarded bitch and all of this here, but I was top of my class.
This is Jeremy Radlow. I'm here to tell you that non-consensual human experimentation is happening in the United States today. I've been the subject of this experimentation for more than 5 years. Calling these activities experimentation is truthful but possibly distracting. I think the criteria governing the selection of experimentees will prove to be a much bigger scandal than the experimentation itself. The psychological torture protocol that's part of the so-called experimentation includes, but is not limited to, the use of non-lethal weapons and mind-invasive technology. Sleep deprivation, pain center stimulation, and worse are used against subjects. While some experimentees have found foreign objects in their bodies suggesting implantation, most have not. Receiverless mind-invasive technology has been demonstrated under laboratory conditions, but the most likely explanation is that experimentees are implanted with foreign objects either too small to appear on commercially available scanning equipment or designed to be indistinguishable from the surrounding tissue. These activities are highly deceptive, use clandestine technology, and have the fingerprints of the CIA all over them. It's unreasonable to expect isolated individuals receiving this treatment to furnish proof. A thorough investigation is warranted. Thanks.
uh, 8 billion brain. Um, and so anyway, what, my interview with Len, he very well described a typical breakdown script that's used on almost all the TI victims. TI stands for targeted individuals. Some of them are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts. I mean, Kubark manual. And they do good cop, bad cop interrogation called Jeff and Mutt. And they go right through the list, right? Just textbook. So whoever the handlers are on the other side of this synthetic telepathy, they're following the handbook perfectly.
Had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. The CIA did not answer detailed questions, saying only that the agency takes all allegations of possible criminal misconduct committed by personnel seriously. So you're saying the reason why they didn't take this more seriously, why there weren't actual prosecutions, but sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre. Remember, it's so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, he was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. The CIA did not answer detailed questions, saying only that the agency takes all allegations of possible criminal misconduct committed by personnel seriously. So you're saying the reason why they didn't take this more seriously, why there weren't actual prosecutions that were carried out, is because what they were trying to not only protect their agency, but trying to protect the country from being compromised in some way by our foreign enemies who would use this information in some kind of bribery scheme?
I think that it's actually quite worse than that. In my personal opinion, my analysis based on this is that they know that we're already compromised, and they don't want to have to admit how compromised we are by these foreign adversaries.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan, and please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.